and good evening. So, as Roseanne alluded to, just over 5 years ago, I found myself captive in my home by my partner of 17 years. He sang a song that night, a tune that I had never heard. Words riddled in false blame, ill intent, and of an intentional ending of my life. That night, and it was that absolute, or so his lyrics say. That night certainly brought to an end many things. Most assertively, our 17-year relationship, but my life did not end, although it would never be quite the same. One could say that was something to celebrate. However, in the moment following what happens after you experience trauma that is immediately life-altering, celebrate is not the word to choose. If you're lucky, you start a journey of finding your way to a version of yourself that you can recognize. My journey started with the network. I was referred there only days after the events of that night. The days, weeks, and even months after that night were quite a blur. I lost much of my sense of time passing, stuck in this place of now, which superseded what the clock or calendar stated was true. On my first conversation with Roseanne, I explained this. She didn't question it, she didn't blink, she just knew. The network had an immediate impact on my senses. And all the conversations I had with family and friends, the overwhelming response was shock and awe. It was refreshing when engaging with the network staff to have a knowing voice helping guide my understanding of what I was going through and how to make sense of it all. Over time, I participated in many of the services offered by the network, including advocacy counseling, court readiness and support, the victims group twice, because just like in first grade, I didn't graduate the first time, so I had to repeat it. My kids loved the children's of the victims support group. They became very fond of Annalise, the child advocate. I also received financial support from the Sunrise Foundation when medical expenses that were large and out of pocket, not covered by insurance, happened. And I participated in both the back to school support and holiday programs run by the network. All of these services afforded by the network because they understand that some of the events that previously were celebrated and brought life pleasure, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and celebrating a child going back to school, all of a sudden could be extremely overwhelming and emotional and straining. Thus, it is often overwhelming for a victim to face. All of these programs deliver in taking some of that pressure off the victims of the program. They all say, we see you, understand the various components of your struggle, and you are not alone in an empathetic and true to me lens. I don't know where I would be without the network. I was so broken when I arrived at their doors. I remember initially asking Roseanne, how long am I going to be this broken? Will I ever be myself again? I wanted a map with the timeline and milestones that I could check the boxes on that showed that I was improving. She helped me understand that there was no such map, that each journey is unique, and that with work and time, I would be again. Of course, all I heard is, there's no map. I just wanted a map. At least that's all I heard at the time. So I would struggle and feel the hurt through the journey. But in that struggle, through the tears and the crippling pain and the questions surrounding why I survived, the network would serve as my partner, reassuring me that I would be again. My children were and remain my grounding reality during this journey. There's the absolute joy that is felt when our kids are happy. There were too many times during my journey where they lived through the pain with me. Having our kids see us go through depression and anxiety and extreme panic attacks is crippling in itself. So seeing their joy with inclusion in the back-to-school programs and the holiday programs was so welcome. They loved the inclusion in the evening after-school program, which they deemed the network nightly events that I attended. It was easier than telling them it was, to help mommy get over domestic violence. Whatever works, right? The network executes these programs brilliantly. There is a special sauce in their awareness and engagement with the kids of those that they advocate for. Kids are super aware in times of crisis. So it is no wonder my kids would comment on how that adult after-school program helped to make mommy happier, calmer even. There are no times in those first 2 years that they enjoyed my company more than when the network was influencing my output. So 5 years later, I am certainly a different person. The network helped me navigate my way and support me in the work to redesign myself. Under their guidance, I moved from victim to survivor. More recently, I've moved the dial further and continue my redesign, moving from survivor to thriver. Having undertook an intentional 1-year effort to find my authentic truth, which started on 11/1/2018, today I celebrate the completion of that journey with you all, delivering this speech. That was not planned. It could not be more befitting that I end and begin again in celebration with you all here tonight. 5 years later, celebration is the word that comes to mind. I pray that you see in me what your support accomplishes time and time and time again. I am one face of many answering the question, what you give matters a great deal. For what you give and how you support the organization and the faces behind the effort. The body of a strong beating heart against the will of a song whose lyrics were so wrong, I thank you.